Tell me what to believe. Oh, I'll tell you what you should see. Oh, I don't know who to trust. My heart is filled with disgust. Oh. Hey guys, it's me, Lord, or whatever you want to call me, and that was Sermon from Drowning Pool. And today I want to talk about just a couple things that I've came to learn about online, on YouTube, within this specific community. As much as I would love to say the name of the community that I'm talking about, I don't want to bring any attention to it because, well, one of my biggest critiques is that they can't really handle criticism, and I do not want to get involved into some drama just because I just so happen to criticize people. And number two, I don't want to bring any attention to those communities because, in my opinion, I don't think what they preach about is healthy for people to listen to for long periods of time. And I'm just simply being honest. This is just my opinion, but yeah. The theme that I'm going to be touching on most frequently is radicalization and how you could easily get yourself into that. Huge and heavy disclaimer so that people do not get the wrong idea. I have nothing against anybody personally. This is just me criticizing other people online because if this is public, if this is something that you decide to share online, a lot of individuals and I have every right to talk about it. People should not be so personally attacked to the point where they are going after somebody's character or somebody's livelihood. This is not serious. This is internet drama. Anytime it leaves that, it goes way too far. And that is what I'm going to talk about today. A lot of other people can attest to this, but one of our biggest fears while watching channels, and especially taking advice from different people, is having to question as to whether or not these people have skeletons in their closet. If you are putting up a facade or if you're putting up a persona, you can only keep up with that for so long before the veil comes off. Lying about certain aspects, trivial or not, can make us question as to whether or not there are other things that are being lied about. I'm going to use a member of the community as an example. Let's call him Raditz, okay? Raditz from Dragon Ball Z. Oh my gosh. But anywho, Raditz was on an ongoing battle with another member. Let's call him Pilaf, okay? Pilaf. Okay, don't mention the fact that they're both from two different sagas. Just stick with me here, okay? Stick with me. Pilaf had many supporters, one including Raditz, okay? Raditz was very supportive of Pilaf. But as time went on, Raditz slowly got tired of Pilaf. Since Raditz did not want to out the person, they decided to criticize them on their own page. Other people caught wind of what Raditz said about Pilaf, so then they went ahead and started asking questions about whether or not Raditz was talking about Pilaf in specific. And Raditz did not deny it, nor did they confess to it. Then Pilaf caught wind of Raditz talking indirectly about Pilaf. And after that, Pilaf asked Raditz a question. Hey, I know we're friends. We were talking in the DMs, like, something Keemstar related. So no, it's not. It has nothing to do with Keemstar. I'm just making a reference. Okay. So now, after Pilaf asked Raditz a question of, hey, what's going on? Are you okay? Raditz slowly pulled away from Pilaf, and Pilaf did not take that kindly, and both people started going at each other. Okay, to that I say this, right? Raditz, in my opinion, had every right to talk about Pilaf on their platform. Number one, they didn't say your name directly, meaning that they still cared about you to some extent, except the only difference was they probably just didn't want to involve themselves with that specific content anymore. And that's fine. People can change. Nothing is linear. And I do disagree with the notion that, Raditz learned, he was trying to be a part of this group and then he got discarded. Well, no, in my opinion, I think Reddit was just trying to see and hear from other people's perspectives. Except one thing to realize is that if you delve yourself into this specific niche for too long, and if you keep listening to the same voices for way too long, especially at your expense, you might slowly get radicalized into self-hatred. You might get radicalized into hating yourself. So I understand why Reddit's pulled back from it, because I'm not going to lie to you, Pilaf was talking bad about an archetype that that Reddit's just happened to fit into. If anything, Pilaf got rejected, not Reddit's, meaning that if Reddit's left, that means that they did it out of their own volition, not because they got kicked out. Okay, let me put this into perspective. Nothing, and I mean nothing, feels better on YouTube than listening to something where everything that is being said just happens to apply to you. And if it doesn't apply to you, your brain tries to make sure that it applies to you because your brain doesn't want to contradict itself. What we need to look out for is projection and insecurity. If somebody creates imaginary rules that were, stemmed from insecurity, and if your brain is willing to go through hoops just to fit into these imaginary boxes, then imagine how emotionally taxing it would be. So yeah, I understand as to why Reddits would want to leave that, because at the end of the day, their brain was trying to play catch up, and that was what probably happened. At least that's how I saw it. 2 things that we could learn from this is, number 1, if you see your thought process change so fast to the point where you start to think illogically, then I think it's time for you to opt out or at least limit the content that you're consuming. And number 2, this whole thing is extremely conflated, and so many things could have been prevented if people just took the time to accept criticism or at least respect the person's opinion on them instead of taking it personally. Dude, did we not learn anything from the Go Animate situation where everybody keeps saying, respect my opinion, respect my opinion?
That's right. If you guys still like this user, we respect your opinion, unless you want to cut ties with him after watching this video, but please do not bash our opinion, for we are not bashing yours.
It reminds me of the Mela Hall thing when Mela was caught not respecting opinions, and then everybody kept checking her for that. And it was funny. And I think we should take notes from the Go Animate community. I don't care if they're like 2 years old, they understand this better than we do. And now, to add on to this saga, I want to talk about Piccolo. And I'm going to do a little internet versus video called The Internet versus Piccolo. So what happened was Piccolo had an up-and-coming channel where he talked about social dynamics. Social dynamics pertaining this specific topic. He gained a following within a couple weeks, but sadly, not many people took kindly to what he had to say on those subjects. So then they took it to the internet, they went on this forum, and then they started trying to expose him. They brought up his livelihood, they brought up his family members, and overall, it was just really chaotic. And in my opinion, I don't think Piccolo said anything so bad to the point where it had provoked so much chaos. But what I don't agree with was how Piccolo responded to the backlash. They went after how Piccolo looked, and the thing about this that made me facepalm was the fact that Piccolo was so stuck and was so adamant about how he looked that he just kept dragging it on. And also, not only that, but he also started trying to respond back to the trolls. I'm not going to talk about how Piccolo looks because, number 1, I think it's low-hanging fruit, and number 2, I'm just not willing to debate whether or not Piccolo is forest green or if he's sage. 2 wrongs don't make a right. The internet should not have gone after Piccolo's children, and Piccolo should not have used their children as ammunition in order to get back at the internet. I thought that was preposterous, and I think that was irresponsible on his part. And when Piccolo started using ad hominems and started to concern troll as soon as they brought up his children, which in my opinion, I don't think it was relevant at all for any of them to bring the kids up, and I feel really bad for them because I don't think they deserved to get in the middle of this crossfire. And due to those events, I started to slowly lose respect for Piccolo. Okay, here is another thing that made me extremely wary. Be wary and be cautious, be very prudent when it comes to individuals online who admit to having mental disorders. I'm not talking about being neurodivergent. I'm not talking about having autism or ADHD or anything like that. I am talking about disorders like NPD, BPD, bipolar, ASPD, and much, much more. I think we should show everybody respect until proven otherwise, but not being aware of who you are watching can put you in so much danger and can lead you into the wrong path, especially if they themselves has not chosen the right path previously. Piccolo told people that he was diagnosed with a mental disorder. A motif that I've noticed within Piccolo's YouTube channel is that he usually talks about a specific group of people that he's not very fond of. When he was responding back to the internet, and in my opinion, I think it did warrant a response, but I don't think it warranted those kind of responses, they decided to use ad hominems pertaining to skin tone, pertaining to what they think those people look like behind the screen. And once again, it made me facepalm and it made me not take this person as seriously as I did previously. What made sense was that at one point Piccolo brought up that a specific group of people, aka the Saiyans, just happened to bully him. So he was bullied by the Saiyans, and in return, some of his content, what it pushes is that it was anti-Saiyan. And it was super duper uber trooper funny because it was projection. I'm not going to poke fun at him about how he feels internally because I do think that it does stem from insecurity, but I don't think it makes sense to spread that message and also have other people hate themselves as well because you don't feel comfortable in your own skin. I don't think that makes sense, Piccolo. I think that because all of them, yes, all of them, have responsibilities, I think that all of them should look within because at the end of the day, they are not the only people they are affecting. If people do not take the time to accept what's being said about them, especially when this could literally improve their character, then this could impact the people around them as well. I do think that Piccolo is a bit insecure because if he is so secure in himself, why does he keep constantly trying to prove to these people that he is what he thinks he is? I don't think that there should be any debate surrounding him, and I feel sad when conversations like this get brought up. I don't hate Piccolo. I don't hate anybody who I'm talking about, but I hope that he genuinely heals, and I also hope that he and his family are doing well. Now I want to go back to Raditz. What happened with Raditz was Raditz and Pilaf, after months of silence, they randomly came back and they randomly started arguing again. A couple months ago, Pilaf made another video about Raditz, and Pilaf also started saying things about Raditz, and he had allegations levied against him. Apparently, according to Raditz, he did not know Pilaf outside of YouTube. Come to think of it, I highly doubt that was the case considering the fact that Pilaf came out with something else pertaining to an allegation being proven to be true. Allegations that Raditz swept under the rug. Well, to that I ask, if this allegation was so trivial and so nonsensical, and if it wasn't worth talking about, why would you talk about it? And even then, if this allegation wasn't worth talking about, and if it was so out of the ordinary that you wouldn't really have to address it, then why did you take the time to address it? I'm going to be cryptic about what specific allegation was being levied, but let's just say whether or not it was a moral failing was subjective. In my opinion, I don't care about what Raditz did in the past. It's the past. I don't really care about that, especially if they no longer do this anymore. My problem with this is the fact that he had to lie about that. If you lie about stuff like that, that only makes the audience think of, okay, what else would Raditz lie about if he's lied about this specific thing? And also, to give credit where credit is due, this could add more legitimacy to what he preaches on his channel. In my opinion, I think that having to learn experiences the hard way can legitimize what you're trying to say. My issue is when you put on this fake facade and you pretend to be this all-knowing person who cannot do anything wrong, and they've been knowing everything since they were really young, and that they haven't went through that much emotional baggage and that much trauma. I find it quite sad that you've thought that this was such a big moral failing that you had to lie about that in order to make yourself seem good to other people. I don't think that's authenticity. You can't claim yourself to be authentic and then lie about certain aspects of yourself. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe it's because, number one, he felt shameful about that side of himself, or maybe he didn't want to lose credibility, or maybe he didn't want to trauma dump because something he does preach was, hey, don't trauma dump on other people. Which, I get it if you don't want to trauma dump. If you didn't want people to see that side of you, and if you don't want other people to critique you on that, then why would you go out of your way to respond to this allegation and also try to pretend that this was such a trivial allegation that we don't even need to pay attention to? If you yourself think that this is a moral failing, then that says a lot about you, and it actually kind of destroys your credibility a bit for you to lie about something like that. Again, I'm not mad about the specific thing that was being lied about. I'm just skeptical about the fact that you had to lie about that. I mean, what else could you have possibly lied about? I think that projection is natural and that we all do it, but it's kind of funny how he had the same flack for Vegeta for doing the same thing that he did. And he tried to take away Vegeta's credibility because, oh, well, I don't think Vegeta has the right to talk about this topic because of his past. But you also kind of partook in a similar past, so I don't think that makes sense. I don't think any of you guys should lose credibility, and in fact, I think you guys should still have your credibility for this, but the difference is Vegeta didn't have to lie about his past. You, on the other hand, Raditz, you did have to lie in order to save face. And as you guys know, the main critique of this video was, drumroll please, people not being able to handle criticism. Raditz does not watch any of the videos made about him, or he doesn't watch that many videos made about him. How would you respond to a video if you've never watched it before? This is literally Hassan Piker 2.0. My question is, how do you consider yourself a commentary channel and yet you can't take criticism well? How are you a commentary channel and yet as soon as somebody has something to say about you or your talking point, then you get butthurt about it? That literally contradicts your whole brand. If your brand is to be authentic and if you're a commentary channel, why would you feel so personally attacked by what somebody has to say about you? You've also said this before, that people can do and say whatever they want online because it's commentary. It's the internet. People are bound to criticize you. Don't get on the internet if you don't want people to say anything about you. And once again, do not take this personally. And that goes for any of the people that I've mentioned, Piccolo and Pilaf. Do not take this personally. Another thing that I've noticed is that as soon as they feel personally attacked by something, they resort to ad hominems. If you cannot attack the flaws within what somebody else is saying without having to resort to ad hominems, and then you expect other people to take you seriously, then stop labeling yourself as intelligent, smart, or anything along those lines. Let me say it again. If you cannot come at somebody from an intellectual standpoint, and if you are resorting to name calling in order for you to get your opinion across, and you want people to take you seriously, then stop pedestalizing yourself. Stop trying to prop yourself up. If you're joking, that's fine, but judging by what I'm seeing, since family members are getting involved, names are being mentioned, and so many other things are happening, I'm starting to think that this is not a joke anymore. So it's very petty. The thing that I found funny about Raditz was that he was making fun of Palau, but under the guise of autism. Raditz compared Palau to an autistic person, saying that we don't have social cues and that we don't understand things. What's pretty ironic was how I remember when I used to have an IEP, and when I did have an IEP, and this was when I was younger, she told me, hey, if you are going to bring something up, we are going to ask questions about it. And that stuck with me ever since. And what's funny is the fact that Reddit's had to learn that lesson recently. It's really funny how you can dish out critiques, or not even critiques, but ad hominems. But then, as soon as the ball is in your court, all of a sudden you seem to hesitate. It's strange. You say that we can't understand social cues while you have yourself in a situation where you didn't understand the social implication behind any of it. But in defense of Reddit, I think that Palau blew this way out of proportion. Not only that, but I think he was trying to sensationalize the drama to make it more interesting. And, I facepalmed at it. Was it funny from both sides? Sure, I can acknowledge that. But at the same time, it's really odd how they expect us to take them seriously. This does not help your credibility at all. What this made me do was it made me even more aware of who I am trying to consume information from. And I'm going to give a quick little disclaimer because I see this with so many other people, and anytime they talk about this community, they always have to walk on eggshells around it, and they don't want to be seen as that. And I can tell it's because they consume content like that where people are calling other people jealous. And let me just set the record straight. I am not jealous of any of the people that I mentioned in this video. I am not jealous of Piccolo, I'm not jealous of Palau, and I'm not jealous of Raditz. I am so glad that I could use these as examples to learn from so that I don't end up making these mistakes well into my adulthood. An issue that I have, and this is another critique, and it's when they use jealousy as a deflection so that they don't look within and so that they don't respond or accept criticism. Not everybody is trying to hate on you. There are people out there that actually want what's best and they're criticizing you. And even if it doesn't sound like it's coming from a nice place, as long as you can acknowledge that, hey, I can see why this person thinks this way and why they have this specific angle, then that's all that matters. Because you can't call yourself self-aware and then not acknowledge as to why people see you the way that they see you. Before I end this video off, and this was longer than any other video I've made recently, but before I end this off, I've heard people attacking Reddit for going under comment sections of people who those people disagree with. And I just want to say, people looking into other people's perspectives does not mean that they are this anomaly and that they're trying to be better than other people. No, some people are just curious and they just happen to want to listen to other people. And also, just because somebody likes one thing that somebody says, that doesn't mean that they agree with every single thing that person has to say. If, for an example, I watch somebody who I politically disagree with, that doesn't mean that I agree with everything that they say. That probably means that I like one thing that somebody says, for an example. But yeah, people have their pros and cons. People have things that they're good at, and people have things that they need to work on. For an example, one thing I can give Raditz credit for is that Raditz knows a lot about physical health. I can acknowledge that, hey, this person cares about physicality and that they're very good at it. I can give Raditz credit for that. I can also give Palau credit for this creative out-of-the-box thinking. I think that they're very creative, and I think that the way they speak is very analytical. Piccolo, I admire his authenticity, and also the conversations that he brings up are very interesting. He is actually really interesting to listen to. I think it's really black and white to attribute one positive aspect of somebody into, oh, you automatically love what this person is doing and you love everything about them. No, I don't personally think that. So what things have we learned? Well, number one, be careful of who you watch because some people can be very, very, very insecure. And if it is weighing you down, please opt out of it. It is completely okay to do that. Number two, it is the internet and it is fair game for people to criticize you online. Number three, it is okay to take criticism. Number four, Do not be immature and try to stoop down to somebody else's level. Number 5, if you do not want something to be brought up, do not bring it up in the first place. Number 6, listen to other people's perspectives, because some people can bring out a side of you that you don't even know of, and this could actually help you improve in your mental health because now you're even more aware of how you are doing mentally. And number 7, and this is the most crucial method, please be humble. Please be humble, because what Piccolo, Raditz, and Palau have in common is that they try to tell you not to be humble because, oh, you're just submitting and people want you to be humbled. Let me tell you this, okay? I'm not trying to get people to underperform or do less than everybody else. That's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is that you should not pedestalize yourself and try to prop yourself up over things that could easily be proven wrong, number 1. And number 2, do not pedestalize yourself over something that could hurt you in the long run. You cannot be smart but also be complacent. You cannot be smart but also be adamant on how you can fix and improve yourself. You cannot be smart and deflect under the guise of jealousy. You cannot be smart and then get mad at other people as soon as they criticize you. You cannot be smart and not listen to what other people have to say, even if it's not the nicest thing ever. Please take criticism. That is all I have to say, and yeah, bye-bye.